think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me?
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd?
Not another guy in the world that can beat you right now. That's Mayweather level. Head-to-head at their welterweight primes, Bud versus Floyd. I feel like a lot of us might actually be picking Bud right now. What he achieved, I cannot put him above Mayweather or Pacquiao because he got these opportunities so late.
That's the problem with Bud's career, right? It bloomed kind of late.
Bud's been the best man for 12 years. But no one gave him credit because he didn't go tell you he was the best man. He didn't market that. He just went out and fought and beat people and knocked people out. So he had to move up and take the bigger fight.
Terence Crawford responded with confidence to Floyd Mayweather's claim that he could beat him. Crawford boldly stated that he would defeat Mayweather even in his prime, insisting that history will remember him for never shying away from challenges. He emphasized that no one can accuse him of ducking opponents, as he has always faced whoever stepped up. Crawford hinted that if a fight with Mayweather ever became possible, he would not hesitate to take it.
Then he started going like this. Then that's when Floyd started taking over.
What do you want your legacy to be like when your career is all said and done? What do you want people to remember you for?
Oh, man. Everybody's asking me the question. I always be like, man, it's whatever it's their opinion. Everybody gonna have a different opinion of Terence Crawford, but one thing they can't say is that I ducked anyone. I fought everyone that was available to fight.
Raphael has argued that Terence Crawford has already reached a stage in his career where he no longer needs another fight to secure his legacy. He points out that Crawford has cleaned out divisions, unified titles, and dominated elite opponents without ever showing weakness. Raphael stresses that at this point, it's less about proving himself and more about preserving his legacy while enjoying the recognition he has earned. In his view, Crawford's resume has already exceeded expectations, and chasing unnecessary fights would do little to enhance his place in history. Instead, his dominance, particularly in recent years, ensures he will be remembered as one of the sport's greats.
What does a Terence Crawford do now? Like, what's the next thing that he does? Because you look around and go, is the only way that he really gets that ultimate chance if he goes up again? And do you say, what do you do?
I don't quit. Yeah, I mean, he was asked those questions at the press conference. He made two things clear. One, he's not going back to 154, and I say that because some people suggested about possibly pursuing a fight with Ennis, who has his debut in the weight class coming up.
Yeah.
That's probably unlikely. He's not going to go back down in weight. And I mean, no disrespect to Ennis, but Ennis is a guy that's known within the diehards of boxing. He's not in any way known beyond the boundaries of the hardcore boxing fan. So yeah. I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of different reasons for him. Not to say I wouldn't, as a boxing fan, enjoy watching the fight. So, yeah. But I don't think he's going back to 154. He was asked about like a Benavides at 175, and he acknowledged like that guy is really big. I mean, that's maybe a bridge too far. He already went up to 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 68. So it feels to me like he can either stay at 168 and defend this championship and look to the same types of names that were being thrown around as the types of guys that would have been in the mix for Canelo had he won the fight. And, he's going to have mandatories. Obviously, that's the first thing they'll have to look at. I mean, I don't know if he's not going to necessarily keep the belts if he's forced into a mandatory. He doesn't need the belts at this point, but there might be something appealing to him. For example, and Billy had a great fight on the undercard, although he's been ordered to fight a rematch in that fight. Mm-hmm. That was, like fight of the year against Lester Martinez, candidate for fight of the year.
The emphatic way Terence Crawford dismantled Canelo Alvarez has fueled heated debates in boxing circles. Fans and analysts quickly compared it to Floyd Mayweather's win over Canelo. While Floyd's victory came when Canelo was still young and inexperienced, Crawford dominated a far more seasoned version of the Mexican star. This has led some to argue that Crawford's win was superior. However, analyst Luke Thomas reminded fans that Crawford's career peaked much later than Floyd's. Mayweather had already become a superstar early, facing top-level opponents at a younger age, while Crawford's rise was slowed by poor promotion and lack of recognition. Thomas argues that even if Crawford's victory over Canelo looked more impressive, it doesn't automatically place him above Floyd historically, as career timing and trajectory play a major role in comparisons.
This was a masterclass. One guy with outrageous skill offensively and defensively, simply making another very good fighter look lesser than. This was the other part. The people who watch MMA and then try to watch boxing through an MMA lens, I don't know what to tell you. You're actually missing the point. The kind of specific details and the depth of the technical ability far surpasses even what you can get at the highest level of MMA, because they don't have that level of skill. There is no equivalent in MMA to Crawford, because there cannot be. Bud is the most talented boxer I've seen Mayweather.
I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
To be fair to Floyd, he obviously had hand problems in his whole welterweight run, and it's why he took that long stretch off in 2007, 2008, 2009 area, and Floyd's brilliance to be able to be just as great in some ways at that age. We're not here trying to dunk on Floyd. When you get a victory like this, right now, straight up, Luke, you could say that there's not a welterweight, junior middleweight, or maybe even super middleweight. When you could say over like a 4-division stretch, Bud, cut down to any of these weights, that there's not another guy in the world that can beat you right now, that's Mayweather level. Head to head at their welterweight primes, Bud versus Floyd, I feel like a lot of us might actually be picking Bud right now. What he achieved, I cannot put him above Mayweather or Pacquiao, because he got these opportunities so late.
That's the problem with Bud's career, right? It bloomed kind of late. I find Bud to be as defensively sound as I've ever seen a fighter. He can find you. There's nowhere to hide with him.
Like Floyd, he has such control over the terms in there. It's just insane.
Buddy McGirt was one of the loudest voices praising Crawford after the Canelo fight, describing the performance as pure domination. According to McGirt, Crawford controlled the bout from the opening bell, never allowing Canelo to dictate the pace or impose his usual aggressive style. He stressed that the victory was so decisive there's no need for a rematch. The skill gap was obvious to everyone watching. McGirt added that Crawford has finally secured the legacy-defining win he had been chasing, beating a fighter of Canelo's stature in such convincing fashion. For him, Crawford has nothing left to prove. The dismantling of Canelo is the signature victory that cements Crawford's place among boxing legends.
Yes.
Like, what fight were they watching?
Right.
I mean, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know what some of these guys be doing in this game, man. Some people, in situations like that, they should ask them, listen, just turn in your license, bro. Because there's no way in hell the fight was that close.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. It's just, it's not fair. It's not fair. You get a guy like Terence got here and dominate from beginning to end, and then you find out he needed the last 2 rounds to win. That's scary, man.
It is. And you see how you just mentioned scary. Now, a lot of people are saying, buddy, that type of beating, he's not going to want a rematch. But looking at those gold cards and knowing that, hey, you wasn't too far behind, even though, he did mention that, he's better than Mayweather. But, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like that was such a beating that Canelo wouldn't want a rematch?
No, I think that, in all honesty, personally, I think that Canelo's at that stage in his career right now, that it's a rematch he don't need. He don't need it. You know what I mean? What we saw that night, that's the stage Canelo's at right now. He's fought everybody, he's did everything, but, he passed the torch to the right guy. He passed the torch to the right guy. He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So if you're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. You have nothing. He has nothing to prove. He fought Terence and nobody else would.
When comparing Terence Crawford to Floyd Mayweather, analysts often highlight Floyd's mental game as the difference maker. While many acknowledge Crawford's technical brilliance, his ability to switch stances, adjust mid-fight, and dismantle opponents, they argue Mayweather possessed an additional layer of psychological control. Floyd not only fought with skill, but also with mind games, forcing opponents into mistakes and breaking their strategies before they could unfold. This psychological dominance, combined with his technical mastery, made him uniquely dangerous. Crawford's skill set is undeniable, but historians note that Floyd's aura of control and mental warfare set him apart, making him the benchmark against which fighters like Crawford are measured.
Hagler, Hearns. I've seen Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler. Like, I've seen all of those things, and those fights were wars. Floyd Mayweather is the best boxer I've ever seen. He's the most skilled boxer I've ever seen. Bud, and this is just my opinion, is the baddest man I've seen wear boxing gloves. And here's why I say that.
RC.
Here's why I say that. Bud is extremely skilled, right? Yet not as skilled as Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather made people look foolish, right? And so if I had to say who's the greatest I've seen, and Bud said it right, the best of an era and the best of an era, it's Floyd. But when I watched Bud against Canelo, there was this extreme skill on display, and there was a level of crazy that's different. There was a level of, and Floyd's extremely tough. Go back to Shane Mosley and the 2 punches he landed early in the fight and the way that he embarrassed him. I'm not saying that Floyd's not tough, Floyd's not a bad man, but there was domination inside that ring we saw this weekend. And there's no fear in him in the way that he's attacked, gaining notoriety. Bud's been the baddest man for 12 years. But no one gave him credit because he didn't go tell you he was the baddest man. He didn't market that. He just went out and fought and beat people and knocked people out. So he had to move up and take the bigger fights and the better fights. And he was Errol Spence,